Good afternoon and welcome to everyone that is joining us today. We have a great group and we're so happy to be back together again. This is personally a highlight of my month, and I know that we have so many loyal attendees to this Women in Business program. So we're appreciative of your support. Glad to be here with you. And we have a great program for you today. So we are pleased to have Grace Helms. She's our Associate Vice President of Community Development with SRP Federal Credit Union, with us today. Grace will discuss factors for consideration when it comes to personal finances, emerging from a crisis, as well as preparing for the future. We will learn today how to protect ourselves to achieve goals and financial security. As our children are heading back to school or are already back at school, this is a perfect time to begin assessing our financial plans and making the necessary adjustments as we look and prepare for the future. And Grace also serves on our Business Education Advisory Council, so we appreciate all that she does for the Chamber and the community at large. There's just a few housekeeping items I want to bring to your attention before I turn it over to our chairwoman of our Women in Business Committee. First of all, there is going to be an interactive portion at the beginning, and we'll use the chat function for that. So if you are ready to use the chat function in your toolbar to be able to participate. And then also located in your toolbar, there's a Q&A function, and that's going to allow you to enter questions during the presentation. That way we can field those over to Brianna Williams, our chairwoman of the committee, and she'll be able to ask Grace those questions following the presentation. So you can ask them at any time during the presentation through the Q&A function. All right, at this time, it is my pleasure to turn it over to Brianna Williams, Chair of the Women in Business Committee and Community Relations Officer with Queensboro National Bank and Trust.
Thank you, Blair. First of all, I want to start off with thanking our sponsors that made this Zoom meeting that we all look forward to possible. I want to start off with thanking our presenting sponsor, Doctors Hospital. They're our series sponsor for August, September, and October. Our technology sponsor is Hillary K Studios. Our media sponsors are the Augusta Chronicle and News 12 NBC 26. And also I'd like to give a shout out to Don Jones with Kelly Promotional Products for providing us with our speaker gift today and always. Now I'd like to introduce Erica Hook, who is a physical therapist at the Pelvic Institute there at Doctors Hospital. Before I throw it over to her to let her make the sponsor remarks, I want to just tell you a little bit about Erica before we get started. Erica has a Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science from University of South Carolina and received her Doctorate of Physical Therapy from Southwest Baptist University in 2011. She is board certified in orthopedics through the American Physical Therapy Association and certified in orthopedic manual therapy through Maitland Seminars. She has advanced training in the anatomy, physiology, and function of the pelvic floor through Herman and Wallace Pelvic Rehabilitation Institute. So please join me in welcoming Ms. Erica Hook.
Thank you, Brianna. As Brianna said, I'm a physical therapist at Doctors Hospital. Our outpatient rehab department provides physical, occupational, and speech therapy with specialties including orthopedic, women's health, aquatic, hand, vestibular, and lymphedema therapy. I specifically specialize in orthopedic and women's health. Many of you are probably familiar with orthopedic physical therapy, which treats diagnoses such as joint pain, spine pain, joint replacements, bursitis, tendonitis, and so on. You may not be as familiar with women's health physical therapy. As a certified women's health specialist, I treat diagnoses such as, but not limited to, urinary incontinence, urinary urgency and frequency, fecal incontinence, pelvic floor dysfunction, pelvic pain, pain with intercourse, and pre- and postnatal care. At Doctors Hospital, we offer one-on-one treatment sessions dedicated to maximizing your progress. We work to create individual plans based on your needs and goals. Treatments typically consist of education, therapeutic exercise, hands-on manual therapy techniques, and modalities such as electrical stimulation, traction, and ultrasound. You do need a referral from a doctor, a nurse practitioner, or physician's assistants. We are located at 3624 J. Dewey Grace Circle, Suites 270 and 302, which is in the green glass building directly across from Doctors Hospital. If you're interested in any of the services, you can contact myself at 706-651-2270 or Trish Wheeler, our pelvic health nurse navigator, at 706-651-3636. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Now, I am excited to welcome and introduce our main speaker today, Grace Helms with SRP Federal Credit Union. And I'm going to read her bio verbatim because there's just so much I don't want to leave anything out. So, having dedicated her career to the cooperative philosophy of credit unions, Grace has served in numerous roles in the industry, including Director of Administration and President CEO. Under Grace's leadership, the Community Development Department at SRP Federal Credit Union has recently achieved multi-state level recognition and awards for its efforts to provide financial literacy education to local area students. Grace obtained her credit union management certification at the Southeastern Regional Credit Union School at the University of Georgia in 2009. She also earned the designation of Credit Union Development Educator at the National Credit Union Foundation School at the University of Wisconsin in 2019. In addition to her work within the credit union movement, Grace has previously volunteered on numerous other committees and served on several boards. She is an active member of many local chambers of commerce and currently serves as chair of the Workplace Learning Committee for the Augusta Metro Chamber of Commerce. So please join me in welcoming Grace Helms.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you, Brianna, for that warm introduction. Don't we all just love the Women in Business series? I know that I do. I'm also personally looking forward to the day when we can be together face to face again and do all of that networking and have the interaction that we love and miss so much. We're going to get there. We're going to get back to it. It's just going to take some time to work through this, but hopefully that'll be sooner rather than later. So before we get started, let's have, as Blair mentioned, let's have just a little icebreaker session. We really love seeing Katie Wynn do this a few months back during the Women in Business presentation. If you saw hers, it'll be similar to that. We've integrated some of her concepts into our programs. Thank you, Katie, for the tips. Please use the chat function to submit your responses, and we'll go through just a couple of quick icebreaker things. Let's start with saying hello. Say hello to someone you know that is attending, or maybe someone you don't know. Hello, I see that. Thank you. Love seeing everyone just say hello. Next, let's talk about what song title best describes your mood today. We're all friends here, so feel free to share what you're feeling and let me know how you're doing. Ooh, I love that, Bulletproof Soul. Happy? We all love happy. All by myself. I'm in the virtual world. We're all by ourselves a lot. These are great. Hymn for the weekend. Okay, next, let's share what we're most grateful for. It can be anything that you'd like to share. Very good. Lots of family, health. And I woke up this morning, loved that too. Alive and healthy. Working internet, definitely. Well, thank you for your eager participation. I love that everyone's getting a little warmed up. Thank you for that. Let me ask you, what's most important, your physical health or your financial health? Feel free to enter your opinion into the chat, and remember there's no right or wrong answer. Physical, both. Physical, mostly physical. So we of course say that our physical health is our most important asset. What if I were to offer that financial health plays a significant role in your overall physical health? As we are discussing crises, we think of our most recent worldwide crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic. It's important to note, though, that much of what we will discuss today applies to all types of disasters, whether medical, man-made, or natural. We're going to address today's topic in two ways: how to prepare financially for crisis and how to recover. It's important to fully understand the potential impacts in order to best prepare for future events and to recover from current events. In this first section, you will learn how to identify ways that these issues can create financial challenges and ways to prepare in advance. Let's start by discussing how crisis and disasters can affect your finances. It can somewhat resemble a domino effect, as you see here in the graphic. First, there is the cost of meeting immediate needs when they are not available from the usual sources. A crisis or disaster could affect the availability of food, water, shelter, and other basic needs like toilet paper, paper towels, and household cleaning products. We've certainly witnessed that during the pandemic. It's possible that disaster relief programs may not have these items immediately available, and government stimulus funds don't begin to cover the increase in costs. Next, there is the cost of repairing and replacing items. Insurance and assistance programs may not cover everything. You may need to cover the expense of some necessary items before you can receive aid. There are ongoing costs of items you need as a result of the disaster. This may include medical or mental health services. Sometimes these services are provided for free shortly after a crisis or disaster, but you do need to be prepared for them at some point if you need these services ongoing. Identity theft and scams. Be sure to safeguard your personal information all of the time, but particularly during times of crisis or disaster. There are scammers lurking around everywhere during times like this, just waiting for an opportunity to steal your information. They prey on victims of disasters and crises. Access to financial resources. Disasters might result in the loss of identification documents you would use to gain access to your financial resources. Also, in times of crisis or extreme stress, you may not remember account numbers, user IDs, or passwords. Your debit or credit cards may be lost or damaged, and it takes time to get those replaced. Even though your financial institutions will work with you to resolve these situations, there may still be a delay in access to financial resources. Penalties of missing payments. Falling behind on bills, mortgage payments, and other expenses as you recover can cause penalties, negative information on your credit reports, and other negative consequences as well. Now let's take a look at how to prepare in advance for crisis and disasters. Ready.gov is a great place to prepare more generally for disasters and emergencies. I strongly encourage you to visit that site at some point after today's session. You will find a wealth of information on their website to guide you in preparedness. Further, as we consider ways to prepare financially for a crisis or disaster, remember that no one is ever 100% fully prepared. As hard as you try, I know I myself am a planner, but it's just impossible to be 100% prepared. So try to keep that in mind. I'll share some tips with you today that will help you hopefully be better prepared than you were to begin with. First, you'll want to get the insurance that you need, and keep in mind these are steps that you want to take to prepare, so before the crisis. This will include health, dental, vision, auto, homeowners, rental, life insurance, or disability insurance. Be sure to include any dependents and take their needs into consideration as well. Having insurance coverage can reduce the financial impact of a disaster when you incur a covered loss. It's important to have the right coverage and shop around for the best deal. The Georgia State Insurance Commissioner's Office website offers consumer guides for shopping for insurance. If you aren't already doing so, go ahead and sign up for direct deposit, use mobile or online banking, and have your bills automatically drafted from your account. Doing so will provide you with access to money quicker and ensure your bills are paid on time in the event you are sick or are unable to physically pay your bills for any particular reason. Keep financial documents and information in a safe place. Having access to this information is crucial for recovering efficiently and quickly. Some suggestions for safe places might be a waterproof bag at home and a fire-resistant box or safe. Safety deposit boxes are also a good option. For records that do not require keeping a hard copy, consider a document cloud service such as iCloud or Google Cloud to upload your copies. If you decide to use a digital storage option, be sure to secure it with encryption and passwords that are not easy to guess. This is also vital. Keep some cash in a safe place. In the event of a disaster, for a short period of time, you may only be able to pay for everyday purchases with cash. This can happen, for example, if the electricity is temporarily out in your community, or perhaps your debit or credit cards are lost or unavailable. That waterproof bag and a fire-resistant safe at home is also a place to keep some emergency cash. Remember not to keep more cash than is absolutely necessary to meet your immediate needs. Despite your best efforts to keep the money secure, cash at home is at the risk of being lost, damaged, or destroyed. There is no safer place to keep your money than in a federally insured financial institution. Lastly, set aside money in an emergency savings fund. Let's take some time discussing this in a bit more detail. So first, why would you want to have an emergency savings account? There are several reasons. When unexpected events like pandemics, disasters, or even day-to-day emergencies arise, you can use your emergency savings to deal with them. Having an emergency savings can make you more resilient. You'll be better able to bounce back when things happen. When you pay for unexpected expenses with the money you've saved, you avoid creating debt. Often the debt used to cover unexpected expenses can be very costly. Being prepared for the unexpected can give you peace of mind before, during, and after a crisis. So how would you build an emergency savings account? You may have heard that an emergency savings fund should have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. That's a good goal, but it's also a really big goal, and it may seem impossible to reach. Remember to take it in smaller chunks and know that even building a smaller emergency savings account can be helpful. For example, you can make a big difference by saving $500 to $1,000 in an emergency savings account, say for example, if you have an unexpected car repair. Set a realistic goal for your emergency savings and start saving towards that goal. It will take time and commitment to build your emergency savings. Remember that as you need to use some of the emergency savings, you'll have to build it up again. It's a cycle, but it's still really worth doing. It's one of the most important steps you can take to improve your financial health and stability. Crisis and disaster can strain us mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. The more we can prepare for the impacts of crisis or disaster, the easier it will be to handle the situation and reduce the strain. Remember that you can save time, money, and stress when a crisis strikes by making financial preparations in advance. Now let's move on to the recovery section. In this section of the presentation, we will list actions that help with financial recovery. We will also learn more about where to get help, how to avoid scams, and how to adjust your financial outlook going forward. After and even sometimes during a crisis or disaster situation, your first priority is making sure that you or your loved ones are safe and secure. There may be injuries or illnesses that require immediate attention. Specific to disasters, you may need to find temporary shelter and secure vital necessities. Visit disasterassistance.gov for more information on how to respond to or recover from crises or disasters that may be impacting your local community. We are focused in this training on the steps you can take to recover financially after you've addressed basic safety and security needs. I will break this down into sections. We'll address personal property, your home, your income and school or job, your bills and expenses, as well as best practices for safeguarding your money. For personal property other than your home, be sure to take these steps. Assess and document damage in writing and with photos. Contact your insurance providers about the damage. Find a safe place to store cash and valuables that you took from your home. If your vehicle is damaged, arrange for alternative transportation. Repair, replace, or borrow replacements for any assistive technology you used that was damaged. This could include various items such as mobility devices, speaking devices, hearing aids, or specialized computer equipment. It would be a good idea to keep contact information for the providers of these equipments with your important documents. Your home is one of your most valuable assets. You want to do what you can to protect it and safeguard it. Continue making house payments or contact the lender or landlord as soon as possible if you do not expect to be able to make a payment. They may be able to offer some flexibility. This is important and will help you avoid limited negative information being reported to your credit reports. Assess and document damage in writing and with photos. Contact insurance providers about damage to your home if you have homeowners or renters insurance. Contact your landlord about damage if you have damage to your home if you rent. Get help from a HUD certified housing counseling agency in your area. Visit HUD.gov for contact information for locally certified agencies. Protecting your job and income and keeping schools informed is also vitally important. Contact your employer to inform them of your situation. Contact your benefits provider if you receive public benefits or pension benefits, including disability. Give them your new address if you've had to move. Keep track of how many days of work you missed because of the crisis or disaster and how much money you would have earned. Also keep track of how many days you were unable to live at home due to the situation. This could be relevant for taxes and insurance purposes. For example, an insurance policy may include a loss of use provision that covers expenses you had to pay because you were not able to live in your home. You lost the use of your home during the time of the disaster and you might be eligible for additional insurance proceeds. Contact your disability insurance provider if you are unable to work following an illness or disaster. Explore public benefits you may now be eligible to receive. For example, contact your state's unemployment insurance office about unemployment benefits if you cannot work because your place of employment was severely damaged, or if they don't have hours for you. Visit benefits.gov or disasterassistance.gov to get started. Heaven forbid, but if anyone has passed away, contact any life insurance provider to file a claim. If you or a member of your household is a student, contact a school and/or financial aid office to find out if they can offer you any assistance. As you know, unfortunately, your bills and expenses will not stop coming during times of crisis. Be sure to continue paying your bills. Paying late or not at all can result in fees, interest charges, and damage to your credit score. Contact the post office and let them know where to deliver your mail. You want to make sure you continue to receive bills and other important correspondence. Contact your financial institution to find out what flexibility and support options they may have for you. Contact your creditors, such as utility companies, credit card companies, and loan providers. Make sure they have your current contact information and mailing address. Discuss your situation and what flexibility they can offer on the amount and timing of upcoming payments. Your creditors will likely work with you on a solution, but it's important to contact them as soon as possible to explain your situation. Keep records of what you spend as you recover from the disaster and save receipts. Assistance programs or your insurance company may reimburse you for some of those expenses. Reach out to assistance programs that provide help to people affected by disasters. Shelter, food, and other necessities they provide will reduce the expenses you need to cover. The United Way 211 helpline provides assistance in many of these areas. No matter the type of crisis or disaster, proactive protection of your money is vital. You will want to get and review your free credit reports from annualcreditreport.com at least annually. Look for errors that indicate your identity has been stolen, such as accounts that you may not recognize. Contact financial institutions to report lost debit cards, prepaid cards, credit cards, or checks as appropriate. For example, if you cannot locate a credit card, ask your credit card provider to cancel it and send you a new one. Contact your Department of Motor Vehicles if you lost your driver's license or state-issued ID card. Although these are not necessarily money, someone could use your identification to commit fraud, which may involve your money. Investigate government programs. I mentioned this previously, but it's worth mentioning again. The best way to protect your money during a crisis is to make sure you continue earning it. If you've lost your job or your hours have been cut back, you may need to look to other resources. One example is the CARES Act, which is the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. And it may be able to provide you temporary support for lost income. By now, I'm sure many or all of you have heard about it. This program provides a sum of money each week in addition to standard unemployment benefits. Visit your state's Department of Labor website for more details. As a reminder, if you are unemployed or are experiencing reduced hours, you may now also be eligible for other public assistance benefits that you couldn't receive before. Let's discuss how to avoid scams. Not everyone who offers help during a crisis or disaster is a legitimate source of help. Be on the lookout for scams by people who are taking advantage of the situation. You can protect yourself by being cautious and selective when you hire or accept help. Scammers could be posing as home repair contractors, charities, or other organizations involved in assistance efforts. You may already be receiving calls from such organizations. The scam calls I receive most often are telling me that my warranty has expired, that I qualify for a new rate on my credit card, that I've won a vacation getaway that, by the way, I never registered for, or my Social Security number has been compromised. Regarding the latter, it's important to keep in mind that the Social Security Administration will never contact you by phone, to discuss anything regarding your Social Security number or account. They will always correspond with you by regular mail, and they will provide a contact phone number and time frame for you to reach them to discuss any situations with your account. Some useful tips to avoid scams include: for contractors, do your homework. Research organizations you aren't familiar with, ask for references, and ask to see state or local permits from repair contractors. Check out online reviews and take a look at the Better Business Bureau website to look for unresolved problems. Never pay a contractor in full upfront before they complete all of the work. Get and keep receipts and don't pay for services that should be free. For example, FEMA and SBA inspectors do not charge for disaster assistance inspections. Keep that in mind. Protect your information. Avoid sharing your Social Security number, bank account information, or other personal information at all times. If someone asks you to share that information, ask why they need it, ask how it will be used, what happens if you don't provide it, and how they will keep it safe if you do. Always keep personal and financial information in a safe place. Stop or forward your mail if you will not be able to pick it up at your normal address. This avoids the risk that someone else will access your personal and financial information. Monitor your credit reports. You have the right to one free credit report every 12 months from each of the 3 nationwide credit reporting agencies. If you receive public assistance, you may be able to access free credit reports more frequently than once every 12 months. The only website authorized to fill orders for the free annual credit reports you are entitled to under law is annualcreditreport.com. Read scam alerts and report scams. The Federal Trade Commission maintains a list of scams on their website, and I'll provide that web address a little later. You can also report scams on this website if you need to. Going forward, as you are easing into a more stable situation, you will need to adjust how your finances have changed as a result of the crisis or disaster. For example, your income may have been impacted, or you may have new ongoing financial obligations as a result of the crisis, such as a medical debt or a mortgage for a home in which you can no longer afford to live, or that may have been damaged beyond repair. I've listed some things you can do to adjust your financial picture so that it more closely reflects your post-crisis reality. First, take a little time to adjust to your new reality. Even if you were financially prepared in advance, your situation may be very different than it was before. Taking time to mentally work through the adjustments will help prevent rash decision-making in the future. Contact your lenders and creditors to work with them if you are having difficulty paying your bills as a result of the crisis. Many may already have plans in place to offer relief. Be proactive by reaching out to them first. Whatever you do, don't avoid their contact. Avoidance will only escalate a collection process. Contact your financial institution and ask if they have programs or initiatives that can help support your recovery after the crisis. Continue to review your credit reports annually. This is important regardless of disasters and crisis. Set new goals and develop a plan to reach them. Consider changing household shopping habits. Look for discounts and coupons. Be sure to comparison shop for major purchases from at least 3 retailers. Avoid impulse purchases and don't use shopping as a form of recreation. I think we've all been a little guilty of that during this pandemic while we're all working from home and at home so much. But try not to do that. Try to avoid those impulse purchases as you can. Review your household spending and savings plan and adjust it if necessary. I've included an adjusted budgeting plan on this next slide. You may have seen this before. It's the 50-30-20 budgeting rule. It can apply to your household before a crisis. However, if you're not sure where to start with a budget or don't already have something similar in place, this is a good place to start, and now is a great time to start. It's pretty basic. 50% of your income goes towards your needs. So that's going to be your housing, transportation, insurance, groceries, day-to-day expenses. 30% goes towards your wants, which is going to be vacations, extra items, dinner out, new technology gadgets, and then 20% goes towards building your financial future. So this is going to be paying down debt and building up your savings, both of which are very important. Remember that these are only goals. You may need to make adjustments here and there, but it is a good goal to work towards. So what's next? It's time to take action. You are more likely to take action if you commit to taking action now. Consider writing down what you intend to do because of what was covered in this presentation. After this meeting has concluded, take a few minutes to answer these questions. What will I do to prepare or recover from a crisis? How will I do it? Will I share my plans with anyone? If so, who? I've mentioned a lot of websites during this session. Here is a quick recap for your notes. These websites have information regarding all types of crises, including COVID-19. So I'll just run through the list real quick. Ready.gov is a great place for general preparation guidance and checklists for crisis, disasters, and emergencies. FEMA.gov, or the Federal Emergency Management Agency, offers resources and toolkits. I personally recommend searching the site for EFAC, which is EFFAK, or the Emergency Financial First Aid Kit. Disasterassistance.gov for information on how to respond to or recover from disasters impacting your community. HUD.gov/find a counselor to locate a HUD certified counseling agency for advice on buying a home, renting, default, foreclosures, bankruptcies, and credit issues. Annualcreditreport.com is the site you'll go to for a free credit report once every 12 months from all 3 reporting agencies, including Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. uwcsra.org/211 for information on the United Way's free assistance hotline, or you can simply dial 211 from any phone. Benefits.gov lists assistance and benefits for all government-sponsored programs. And consumer.ftc.gov/scam alerts to research and report scams. Also included is a list of the most recent and popular scams. We've covered a lot of ground during this session. Please let me know what questions you might have.
All right. I think everybody can hear me. I think I've unmuted myself. Thank you, Grace. That was very informative. We do have a couple of questions here, so I'll go ahead and start with the first one. The first one being, should I be paying down my largest debt first or try to pay my lower debt right now if my financial situation has changed due to a crisis?
We would generally recommend trying to tackle those larger debts first. Doing so will get some larger payments out of the way so that you can then focus on the smaller debts as well.
Okay. We actually just got a question in the chat box as well. That Janice Rice asked if, I guess you see it, if you can go back to the 50-30-20 slide and review that.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So in this slide, and again, this is just a suggestion, but 50% would go towards your basic everyday needs. So your housing, transportation, insurance, groceries, healthcare, utilities. 30% goes towards wants, so things you don't have to have. Takeout dinners, concert tickets, vacations, things of that nature. And then 20% would go towards your future, your financial future. So paying down debt and building up your savings.
Okay, thank you. Looks like we have another question. It says, would you recommend applying for a small personal loan versus a credit card if I've exhausted my savings and need additional funds right now to get my bills back on track?
Yes, I would recommend the personal loan versus the credit card, because with the credit card, you may be tempted to continue using that credit card and getting yourself further into debt as you're recovering, where the small personal loan would, tie you to that specific credit.
Okay. Another one, other than necessary costs, is there any financial debt that you would advise is okay to make payment arrangements on if the creditor will allow without penalty to your credit?
One thing specific in this pandemic, we've seen so many creditors are allowing, specific payment arrangements. I would say anybody that you're making a monthly payment on, yes, I would contact them and try to make payment arrangements if you're in some type of bind, because some may be agreeable and some may not. Most these days are. But I would say anybody, whether it be a medical bill, your cell phone bill, your mortgage, any type of debt is definitely worth calling and asking. Yes, I would do that.
Okay, thank you for that. It looks like we have one more. Should I also still be contributing to my regular savings account in addition to my emergency savings account, or should I just combine them both?
No, you should definitely contribute to both types of savings accounts. You just want to factor that into, that 20% of your budget that you can afford to save. Break it into some emergency, some regular savings, definitely.
I said last one, but now this is really the last one. How many, and I think you touched on this already, but how many months expenses do you recommend setting aside for the emergency savings fund?
3 to 6 months.
Okay. All right.
It's going to take a while. It will take a while to get there, but do keep in mind that, you know, it's an important goal. You just work toward it and you modify it as you need it. You may have more expenses for 1 month versus another. So you might have to modify how much you put in there. As long as you continue to contribute, that's the most important thing.
Okay. All right. It doesn't look like there's any more questions. So Grace, I just want to thank you for your time today and that wonderful informative presentation. And also I want to thank you for being a representative of female leadership in our community and sharing your wisdom and knowledge with us here today. And then to show our appreciation, I know we're virtual and I don't have anything to physically hand you, but we did, like I said, Dawn Jones with Kelly Promotional Products has provided a speaker gift for you. So we will be sending that over to you this week. So thank you again for your time. Before we virtually disperse today, I do want to go ahead and mention our next Women in Business Luncheon. It is scheduled for Tuesday, September 17th. We're excited, very excited to announce that we have Jennifer Gray, who's the Vice President of Operations with Topgolf, and her presentation is titled Example, Not Exception, Thriving in a Traditionally Male-Dominated Industry. So look out for more information and more details on that. You can go to AugustaMetroChamber.com and look under the Events Coming Up tab. Looks like I'm getting chat. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Grace, take it away.
Sure. I just wanted to add, first of all, thank you all today for your attention and your attendance. And I'd like to thank the Chamber for the invitation and honor to speak with the group today. I do have some financial checkup forms that I'd be glad to send to you if you're interested. These will help you understand where you are in the crisis preparation and recovery process. Please send me an email at the address on the screen if you'd like a copy. And also, if you work for or know of a group that could benefit from free financial literacy classes, please reach out to Community Development at srpfcu.org. We'd be glad to facilitate to your organization virtually or in person. And we have modules for most all subjects related to financial literacy.
Sounds good. Thank you again. Thank you again, Grace, for sharing with us your knowledge. And I also want to go back and thank again our sponsors. Our series sponsor today is Doctors Hospital. Our technology sponsor is Hillary K Studios. Our media sponsors are the Augusta Chronicle and News 12 NBC 26. And also I want to thank the audience. Thank you guys for joining us today, taking time out of your busy schedule, and hopefully, which I'm sure you did, learn something and are walking away with a takeaway thanks to Grace. So I hope you all have a great afternoon, and hopefully we will see you all back here or possibly in person, fingers crossed, on Tuesday, September 17th. So thank you all. Have a great day.